This is a tutorial for setting up VoxCommando to work with XBMC. And I'm going to start from scratch. I am assuming that you have XBMC installed and that you have content that's been properly added to the library. One of the main things that you need to do when you first set it up is to make sure that XBMC is ready to accept commands from another program like VoxCommando. So you have to go to your network settings. On the Aeon skin, I go to settings, and then directly to network. On Confluence, it's a little different, but it's easy enough to find. And then here under services, it's important that allow control of XBMC via HTTP be selected. We recommend that you use port 8080. The default in XBMC is just 80, but that can cause problems using that. And then you choose a username and password. And in this case, I'm going to use just XBMC and XBMC as the password. This also needs to be checked. The difference is this is the web interface and this is the button interface. So a lot of the simple commands like up, down, left, right that emulate buttons require that this be selected down here. Okay, so that's all set up correct. This is XBMC. So now we're going to install VoxCommando. Now VoxCommando does not use a traditional installer. It would be very easy for us to provide you with a traditional installer that puts the program into your C programs files. But we chose not to do this for a number of reasons. VoxCommando is a portable program, which means you can copy it onto a USB stick. But it also means that you can create 5 or 6 different versions of it all on the same hard drive that have different configurations. And VoxCommando is extremely customizable, and it's also something that you're going to want to experiment with, so it's very nice to be able to just zip up your folder or make a copy of your folder so that you can experiment without ruining your settings. So all we do is we download the installer into an empty folder. I've created one here called DVC tutorial. So I'll go to the website, go to the download page, and grab the latest version, which in this case is 875B. And I'll download it to DVC tutorial. And close this window. Okay, so here's my setup file. I just double click, run, accept the terms, double check that it's being installed to the correct folder, and it gets extracted. Now the program is installed, and if I wanted to back this up, all I would do is make a copy of this folder. So I'm going to run the program itself, and because this is a fresh install, it asks me to agree to the license terms and then choose a configuration. Now you can create your own configuration, you can combine commands from all different types of programs and whatnot, but we've provided a few templates to get you started with, and the XBMC one is what we're going to use today. It includes most of the standard commands that you'll want to use. Of course, there will always be new ones coming out. So I'll click use this configuration. It's important to allow it through your firewall because all of the communication with XBMC is done through the network, but you don't need to check public networks. You can leave it on private networks. Alright, so Vox is running, and we should now be able to do simple things. Go home, Ignore me. Good point. I need to set my options in VoxCommando to match the options that I set in XBMC. So I go to Options, Open Options, and then I go to the XBMC tab. My port is correct, 8080. Here I enter the IP address. 127.0.0.1 means this local computer. If I had XBMC running on a different computer, let's say I was using Vox on my laptop and running XBMC on my htpc in another room or whatever, then I would enter the actual IP address of that XBMC was running on. But this just leaves it flexible. And here I want to enter XBMC. This timeout is not really important. If you leave it at 3000, it's fine. Basically, it'll wait for 3 seconds after sending a request to XBMC. And if it doesn't get anything back, it'll give up after 3 seconds. Save and close. Go home. Go right to. Go right to. Scroll left slow. Stop. Stop. Stop scrolling. That brings up another point. What are the commands that you're going to use? I'll show that to you a little bit later on in the tutorial. So everything is working now, but VoxCommando does not know what is in your library. It needs to know the names of all of your movies, TV shows, artists, etc., so that it can listen and make sure that everything is spelled correctly when you request, if you say play album, blah, blah, blah. We use GenXML, which stands for Generate XML. It basically asks programs for information about your media libraries and then stores it in an XML file. And when you restart VoxCommando, it will use that to generate all of the commands to listen for. So I'm going to open, you can go straight to Gen XBMC and it'll do it, but I'm going to open form. Usually the first time you do it, you'll want to use this to get some feedback on what's actually happening. You can click individual items, artists, albums, and this is telling you how many items were returned by XBMC. And if you get 0, it means that either you're failing to connect to XBMC or you don't have anything in your library. So I'm going to click Generate All, which is the same thing basically as if I had gone to the directly to the XBMC button here. You'll see it's gone through everything and I don't have any music videos. So now we need to tell VoxCommando to do a full restart. And it's going to process all of those commands. The first time that you restart after updating your media information, Vox will take a little bit longer to load because it's creating commands, not only commands for every single one of your albums, but all the different combinations of things that you might say, because you could request an artist sometimes by using just part of their name, or a song by using just part of the song name. So you could ask for the song Smoke instead of Smoke on the Water, and it theoretically would play that song unless you had a bunch of songs that had the word smoke in them. So let's test it now. Play artist Josh Ritter. Play album Abbey Road. Play song Smoke. Ignore me. And here you'll see that you get all of your options when your command is ambiguous. Play Smoke. Play song Smoke. Option 5. Stop playback. Ignore me. So as you can see, in a matter of a couple of minutes, we've starting from scratch, we've got everything set up, no problem, because we know what we're doing. You might run into some snags, and if you do, you can go on the forum and get help from a number of different users that will be happy to assist you. The last thing that I'll mention in this tutorial is we have a new feature that generates a help menu based on your custom commands. So even after you've gone and edited your command tree and maybe changed the way that the phrases that you use to trigger commands and whatnot, when you go here to generate help menu, it'll scan all of your commands and generate a fresh copy of the help menu, which tells you what you can say. And you can print this out if you want to make like a voice menu for your guests. I think it's relatively intuitive how this works. Each one of these boxes is a command. It gets broken up into the sections of the command. So you would select one of these words to say, and then select one of these, and then select one of these. So you could say move down 2, or you could say go right. You could say scroll down, or you could say scroll left fast. Here are your TV and movie commands. Find TV, house. These words are optional. So you could say find television, series, house. Or you could just say television, house. And I think that pretty much covers the basics. Hope to see you on the forum.